up, Tricksters, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Coding Boundaries with Loki Consulting. Today, I want to talk about errors. More specifically, I want to talk about a way of thinking about errors which is going to help you next time you have to design a piece of software. On the screen is possibly one of the most famous errors ever. Printer on fire. This is probably not the most readable code, especially if you're not a kernel hacker, but it is a nested if inside a bunch of if-else ifs, and it does one specific thing. It's an error, and it tells you printer on fire. Often we're going to get errors kind of like this one. You've got this case statement, you've got find or create user from auth, and if you get OK back, you're going to do a bunch of stuff, and then if you get error and you don't care about the reason, you're going to just send the reason back out straight to the user and possibly fix it. This is fine for a prototype, which is where this code comes from, but it's really not good for a more elaborate system. The reason why is that errors must be expressive and errors must be specific. Here you have a very simple sample of code from Golang, the programming language. And Golang has a very specific characteristic, which is it allows multiple return values. In fact, one of the return values must be an error value. Now, this value often is nil because there's no errors. But think about what that means. If every function can return an error, you have an opportunity for every function to actually be able to return one and only one error. That means you have an opportunity to define exactly what this function can do. And that means you can define exactly how to handle this function as a caller of this function. So you have an opportunity to bind very, very narrowly the purpose, the scope, and the reason to exist and the reason to change of this function. In other words, you can use the error value as an element of design to bind the function to a single responsibility much better than otherwise. So when you're looking at errors like this one, you see there's an opportunity for a very specific error to exist. This function or this bit of code is going to do one thing. It's going to either give you back the primary key with some additional information, or it's going to raise an error saying there's no primary key. This is very specific. It's very well bounded. It's going to fail for one reason, and the user will be able to look up specifically what that failure means and how to fix it or how to go around it. So next time you have an opportunity to return an error or to raise an error in your code, consider what that means to the user, whether the user is the person writing the code or the end user who's going to read the error. And this is going to help you design your code better and follow the single responsibility principle that much better. Hey Tricksters, thanks for watching. If you like this, smash that like, subscribe, and consider donating so I can keep making content for you. See you all next time.